It's Saturday afternoon. Uh, Conditions are great for a run. I'm going to go run 20 Ks. I've got about 2 years experience in running, and 20 Ks generally for me would be a fair or moderate run. But this year, 2026, has been nothing but fair or moderate. I've struggled with all sorts of distances, 5Ks, 10Ks, and I barely ran 27Ks earlier the year. I'm struggling. I didn't expect to struggle this much. No idea where I'm at. 23Ks, 24Ks, something like that. But wow, it's been a long time since I've pushed this kind of distance, and my fitness is or lack thereof. I'm feeling it psychologically. I just want to phone my wife and say, come fetch me, I'm done for the day, pick me up. Even though I know I can do that, like I have never done that, but that calling is really strong today. Yeah, this run didn't go the way I had hoped, and that's okay. So I'm not too sure whether or not this distance will be comfortable, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So come along with the journey as we try and figure out, as a 50-year-old, what's happened to me. Why is what used to be a fair, easy, moderate run before now suddenly becomes so difficult? I've got a couple of ideas, but let's go for a run. I'm also trying out this new running vest. I'll let you know more about it as I get comfortable with it. Right. So in 2025, I felt my fittest, my strongest I've ever felt in my life, and that was really just a mindset, determination. Trying to run my first 50 kilometer, did that, ran it in a trail in really good conditions, tough conditions. I was able to make it, and really felt like I could do anything. So much so, I entered the triathlon, the sprint, and I did it. Came second last, but almost felt like I was drowning. I nearly did, and but I pushed through. Then I had an injury just before my next big trail marathon, and from there everything just kind of stalled. I found it difficult to, obviously, I needed to rest. That in itself was tough, a big ask I felt, and then getting the news that it's going to be a 8-week recovery, that was tough. I had to accept it, which I kind of didn't. And then after that, trying to get going, through December, I was trying to achieve 2,000 kilometers, having run for the year, which I missed by like 2Ks or something. I'm not bummed about it, but that's kind of the journey of how this year started. It was really how 2025 ended. And then at the end of the year, I started thinking about what are the goals that I want for 2026, and running 100 kilometer and then 160, that became my goal. But boy, has it been difficult to get started. Like, just every run that I've taken so far in my recovery process from my injury, trying to run 10Ks, feeling finished after that, trying to take it a bit further. My first long run for the year was supposed to be around 32Ks. I got to 27Ks, and I threw in the towel. I had to call my wife to come and fetch me. Like, I really started feeling the pain at 14 kilometers, which for someone that's run ultras, that is way too early to feel any kind of thing. You should be super comfortable at that distance. For me, and it was a horrible run. The next weekend I did manage to run 34 kilometers, but a downhill run, a beautiful run from Hillcrest down to the beach. That was great fun. But since then I haven't run anything over 11 or 12 kilometers. Well, I did run that 14k in Cape Town. That was awesome. And I did run up Devil's Peak. So but that's the whole point of the story, the contradiction of my abilities and what I feel I'm capable of and what I've done. Like, they all kind of playing against each other. And I had a conversation with my wife earlier today which is what pushed me to come into this run, which I think is the answer, which I think is really what's happening. But I also think it's gonna rain, so let's get some distance on. Let's go. Never run through this park before, but I also thought some variety may be what I'm looking for. So yeah, I am just giving a bit more incline to an already fair amount of incline in this run on the regular. There we go. Stairs. Stairmaster. Back on the road. So my wife and I were chatting, and going through the same thing I'm telling you. Is like, this year's been off to a funny start. She's had a very similar experience, and then I say to her, unwittingly I say to her, it's not that I don't think that I can. I've got the mental fitness to know my capability. Like, I know that I can run 20 Ks. I know that it won't be that much of an issue for me to run it. I might on the day huff and puff a little bit more than I am used to, but I know that I can do it. But it's the pain and discomfort that I'll feel the next day and the day after that I was worried about. And as I said that, it made me realize just how ridiculous I'm being. And we shouldn't be worried about like the pain. The pain is a reward. The pain is part of the trophy. You don't get to feel this pain by sitting on the couch. I mean, that's a whole different kind of pain if you're feeling stuck with your life. But going out for a 5k run, 10k run, 1k run and feeling that pain, that's a reward. And I was like, why would I be concerned or worried about the reward? What is it about this reward of pain that I'm suddenly concerned about? And that's what I was thinking about. And that's when I went, got upstairs and got dressed and ready for a run. So here's my thoughts on that. I think, when I consider why I would have such reservation about the pain factor, is that I've been here before. 20 Ks isn't something that I want to re-experience pain for, re-experience discomfort for, because I've already unlocked this level. If life is a game, then I've done this level before. So I think that's the biggest psychological little twist that's happening, is I don't want to go through what I've already been through, which is kind of understandable but also very silly, because at 50 Ks is another level of pain. 60, 70, I'm assuming. I've never done it, but that's going to unlock just another level of pain. So adapting, growing, strengthening should be part of the plan. fear should F off. No place for that. Best way to beat fear, lace up and go for a run. So that's it really. It's this fear of pain. It's silly. Like, we shouldn't be fearing pain, because in every run there's pain. When I took my first run almost 2 years ago, in a few days. So today is the first day of our new mission, which is effort. You know, unreasonable effort it takes to get progress in doing, like, getting really small little results in the beginning. Alright, so this, like I said, is day one. It is just before 5. And the other thing I forgot to say is I'm gonna do the second most unreasonable thing you can do when doing something like this. I'm gonna film myself running. It's the last stretch. Again at 100 meters. Let's go. Let's cross it together. I planned to go for 5k. I thought I was running 7. I ended up only running 3 kilometers, but I felt like I was running 30 kilometers. I was in a lot of pain after that, believe it or not. And we start somewhere. You know, recently I was in Cape Town. I got a few people to come and run with me. I just put out an invitation, and most of them aren't seasoned runners, but they ran 14k's. Almost all of them telling me that this is the furthest they've ever run. This is the fastest they've ever run. This is the most I've ever run without stopping. And then I had the same thing when I went to Johannesburg running with John. John told me the same thing, that he thought he was going to give up just after a few meters, but he ended up running 3k's, the furthest he's ever run without stopping. Like, you know, whatever distance you want to run, me 20k's, it might seem like a lot, I know, but it's actually in my wheelhouse. I've trained for this. I've been consistent in building up the stamina and the strength to be able to run 20k's and not be in pain. It's kind of all reversed right now, but you know, when you're starting, that's where you start. Like, go run your first kilometer, go run your first 3k, go do your first thing that gets you off the couch, because that, I think, is the biggest reward. The pain is the reward, but getting off the couch, that's the medal. That's the medal. That's what we should take with us. Hi, my name's Richard. I'm an adventure filmmaker. I focus on running, cycling, and all things outdoors, trying to encourage you that you don't have to be the best, and you don't even have to be good at it, just to get out there and do something for you. And that thing could change your life like it did mine. Like, and it's just unbelievable, the benefits of just getting out, getting off the couch. I still need to run another 11 or 12 kilometers on this run. That is the reward of pain and the medal of getting off that couch. If you want to see what other videos I have, check out my channel, watch as many as you like, comment, let me know what you think, what is the challenges that you face in your life, how you've got over them, what are the pains that you're dealing with now that you really feel is the reward of breaking through something you thought was impossible. My name is Richard, and this has been Richard Talks.